Introduction to the Village and Characters. In a quaint African village nestled between lush forests and rolling hills, life flowed peacefully, closely intertwined with the land and its creatures. The villagers lived in harmony with nature, drawing their strength from the earth beneath their feet and the animals that roamed the wilderness. Among them was Tia, a young woman of great kindness, known for her gentle spirit and a smile that could brighten the darkest days. Tia had recently married Amari, a seasoned warrior whose reputation for bravery was well known. However, despite his strength in battle, Amari had a heart that seemed closed off, distant, as though something within him remained locked away. Their marriage, which was meant to be filled with love and companionship, instead became a quiet struggle, where Tia found herself alone in her efforts to break through the walls he had built around himself. It was clear to the villagers that Amari carried the burden of old wounds, but no one knew the true extent of his pain. Tia, however, felt a deep love for him, and her heart ached to see him suffer in silence. She tried everything, words of comfort, small gestures of affection, but nothing seemed to reach him. Her hope began to fade, and she wondered if she would ever truly have the connection she so desired. Determined not to give up, Tia decided to seek help from the village's wise elder, Mama Abena. A healer revered for her knowledge of both physical and emotional healing, Mama Abena had guided many through troubled times with her profound wisdom. The quest for a lion's whisker. One afternoon, Tia made her way to Mama Abena's home, nestled at the edge of the village. As she sat in the healer's humble hut, she poured out her heart, explaining the pain she felt and her fear that Amari's heart might never be hers. Mama Abena listened carefully, her face creased with both sorrow and understanding. After a long silence, she finally spoke. "There is a way, child, but it is not easy. If you wish to truly reach your husband's heart, you must prove yourself. Go to the mountains where the lion roams and bring me one of its whiskers." Tia's eyes widened with disbelief. The lion was the king of the mountain, a powerful creature whose roar could shake the earth. Many had tried to approach the lion, but no one had ever returned. "But how can I face such a beast?" Tia asked, her voice trembling. Mama Abena's eyes sparkled with quiet confidence. "You will not face the lion with fear. You will approach it with patience, understanding, and love. These are the things that will tame the fiercest of beasts." Preparing for the journey. With a mixture of dread and determination, Tia prepared for her journey. 21. She packed a small bundle of food, a blanket, and some herbs that Mama Abena had given her for protection. As she set out on the path leading to the mountains, the village watched her go, offering words of caution and fear. "It is a dangerous journey," said one elder. "No one has dared to confront the lion and live to tell the tale." But Tia's heart was steadfast. She knew that if she wanted to save her marriage and truly understand the depth of her love for Amari, she must follow the healer's advice. She set her sights on the mountains, where the lion roared in the distance. The first encounter. The path was steep and treacherous, but Tia pressed on. After days of traveling, she finally reached the foot of the mountain, where the dense jungle gave way to an open clearing. It was here that the lion made its home. Tia could hear its growl echoing in the distance, sending chills down her spine. She found a safe place to hide behind a thick tree, observing the lion from afar. The great beast stood tall, its golden mane swaying in the wind. Its eyes, sharp and piercing, scanned the area as if it sensed something in the air. Tia, with her heart racing, quietly placed a piece of meat in the clearing and retreated to a safe distance. The lion approached cautiously, its powerful muscles rippling as it moved. The sound of its paws against the earth was thunderous. The lion sniffed the air, then turned toward the offering. After a few moments, it devoured the meat, seemingly unfazed by the presence of the woman. With a final lingering glance at her, the lion retreated into the shadows of the mountain. Tia's heart fluttered. It had been the first step, the first signal that the lion was not as hostile as the legends suggested. But she knew she had much more to do. Building trust. Over the following days and weeks, Tia continued her routine. Each morning she would return to the clearing, leave her offerings, and retreat to a safe distance. Slowly, the lion grew accustomed to her presence. At first, it would only approach the food and then retreat immediately. But over time, it lingered longer, sniffing the air and watching her with those piercing eyes. Tia never showed fear. She remained calm and gently, never moving too quickly or too close. The lion, in turn, began to trust her. One day, as she stood a little further from the clearing, the lion approached her without hesitation. It stopped just a few feet away, its massive head lowered in a display of calm. Tia held her breath. Her hands trembled, but she remained still. The lion, sensing her peaceful energy, did not growl or move aggressively. It simply sat down, watching her, its golden eyes locking onto hers. Slowly, Tia reached out, her fingers grazing the lion's whisker. For a moment, the world seemed to pause, and she carefully plucked the whisker from its face. The lion blinked but did not react violently. It rose, stretched its powerful limbs, and silently walked back into the jungle, leaving Tia standing in awe of the profound encounter. She had faced her fears, built trust with the lion, and now had the whisker in her hand. Patience is rewarded. As Tia descended the mountain, a profound sense of peace washed over her. The journey had been long and filled with uncertainty, but she had achieved what many thought impossible. The lion had shown her the power of patience, trust, and the quiet strength that comes from understanding another being. When Tia returned to Mama Abina with the whisker in hand, the healer smiled with pride. "You have done well, my child," she said, holding the whisker in her hand. "But tell me, what have you learned from the lion?" Tia paused and reflected on her journey. "I've learned that patience is the most powerful weapon of all. The lion did not attack me. It only wanted to see if I was worthy of its trust. I've also learned that love cannot be rushed or forced. It must be earned, step by step." Mama Abena nodded. "Then you already know the path to your husband's heart. The lion has taught you what you need to heal your marriage." With a wave of her hand, the whisker was burned in the fire. Tia looked at the ashes, confused. "Why burn it?" she asked. Mama Abena smiled. "You have already gained the wisdom, child." The whisker was never the answer. It was the journey, the lessons learned along the way, rebuilding love. Armed with her newfound understanding, Tia returned to Amare, ready to apply the lessons she had learned. Instead of demanding love or attention, she began to give more freely. She listened to Amare, patiently allowing him to open up about his past. Every day, she offered him small gestures of kindness and care, never expecting anything in return. Slowly, Amare's heart began to soften. Tia gave him space to heal, understanding that his past wounds would take time to mend. She never rushed him, but quietly showed him that love was not a force to be controlled, but a gift to be shared. Days turned into weeks, and Amare, once distant and closed off, began to respond to her efforts. He started sharing his fears, his pain, and the sorrow he carried from his past. For the first time, Tia felt that her husband was truly present with her, no longer hiding behind the walls of his soul. The power of love and patience. As their relationship deepened, Tia realized that love, much like the lion, could not be tamed with force. It had to be approached with care, patience, and understanding. Every conversation, every act of kindness, and every silent moment they shared became a step toward healing the scars of the past. Tia's patience paid off, and Amare began to open up in ways he never had before. They laughed together, cried together, and grew together. It was no longer about fixing the brokenness between them, but about building something new. A love that was resilient, patient, and full of hope. A lesson in resilience. One day, as Tia sat with Amare beneath the shade of an old baobab tree, she asked, "Do you remember